Welcome to my very interesting outlining method for a dual or multiple POV novel. Hello there humans, I'm Cecile Bruno, the partially blind alien from a distant galaxy who is a known voices author. This is my Project AuthorTube contribution video for this upcoming NaNoWriMo, and first of all, I am a visually impaired writer. I hope that you find at least one thing that is helpful from my video, although most of my preparation process occurs here in my head. But I could find a way to transplant whatever is in my head into a digital page if you would like to see more of that in a future video. For this video in particular, I'm going to focus on a unique book instead of a whole trilogy, because contrary to popular belief, I don't have a series Bible. I will need a series Bible if I were writing another book, let's say, because this science fiction project of mine is extremely personal. Therefore, I know my characters so well that the first thing I have to do to write, so before the outline in itself, I need to get to know my characters. I need to get to know their names, if they speak a language that is not English or they just speak English, where do they live, did they move places, you know, all the character development, all the backstory. Whether it goes in the book or not, I need to know everything about every character, even the minor ones. And that takes a lot of time, but I tried doing character sheets and I thought it was gonna be more helpful. I hated it, so I instead have like a imaginary interaction with my characters, like a daydreaming sort of thing, where once that it's out of the way, once I know who I am working with for my novel, then the outlining begins. Before we move on, if you like my content and you like the things that I talk about in my videos and you would like to see more from me, consider subscribing and ring the bell for future notifications. Also, leave me a comment and let me know what would you like to see from me. If you want me to try to, you know, do all this character development thing in a video, trying to take it off my head into a document, I don't know, let me know down there. But now I'm going to share my screen, so Dal from the future, this is a problem for you. There, that's my screen, and here I'm going to share the outline. As you can see, is super basic. Super basic. Also, I don't want to spoil anything from book one, so I'm going to show like the first chapters, the basic thing, and then the final more visual chart that I have at the end. Okay, so as you can see from chapter 1 and chapter 2, there are two different colors in the title, so the titles are color coded. One is green, the other is purple. This is because I assigned a color for each of the characters. I know many of you do this. So let's say every chapter that is for Tibor is going to have a green title in my outline. And every chapter that belongs to this other girl from the book is going to have purple. Now, if you move a little bit down, you will see that chapter 3 is black. Or I wanted to put it blue, but come on, just leave it black for now. This means this is an overlapping chapter. When you're working on a dual point of view story, there will be chapters where you have both characters interacting in the same page. Maybe not in all stories, but it's common. Otherwise, if there was no overlapping interaction between the 2 or 3 or 5 main characters, why is it a multiple POV and not separate books? So chapter 3 is the first chapter where I have this issue, but it is very interesting. In book 1, I had to have it like this. There was a scene break in the very beginning of chapter 3, so there was like one scene, a few paragraphs, 3 or 4 maybe, with Tibor, and then there's a scene break, you know, asterisk, it's with asterisk, right? And there was a scene break and it jumps to a new character that her name is Claudia, and this is not the girl from chapter 2. Thing is, with Claudia, she is like the link between the two characters before they even know of the other's existence, because at this point in the book, Tibor and Annie have no idea that the other exists. But they both got to know Claudia. Annie more than Tibor, but there is an interaction between the three. So this particular chapter was a very big exception, and I decided to leave it like that because Claudia comes in other parts of the novel anyway. It's not like, oh, I'm going to have a chapter about Claudia and she never comes back in the book. She might not come back as a point of view herself, but she will be very present in other aspects of the novel, maybe on the phone, maybe in the same room with another character. So she is still important, and I decided this is the only way that I can narrate it in the way that I need to narrate it. And so I left it like this. And then you will see chapter 4, it goes back to Tibor. So it's green again, and so on until the book is ready. Now, once the book is ready, and I had all my chapters color-coded, and I also added the month of the timeline, because this story is a big time span. It's like 5 years in the life of these characters, so it's not like... This is why I didn't catalog this as a YA, because it is not YA or middle grade. This takes longer than a year, therefore it's adult. You will see the characters evolve and grow throughout their lives, but not just like 2 years. It's a long time span, and it's very complex. I don't want to go on a ramble here, but once the story has all the timestamps, you know, all the time coding and all the color coding of a chapter, I'm going to show you now the final graph where I look at all the chapters belonging to one character and the other, so Tibor and Annie, and so the green square and the purple square, and then there is also a blue circle in the middle. This blue circle in the middle touching both characters is the overlapping chapters, and I wanted to have them in specific parts of the novel. So chapter 3, chapter 11, chapter 16, chapter 17 and 19. Now, it looks like I have more chapters for him than for her, but when it comes to chapter 3, for example, she has more time, more page time than Tibor, so she is taking a little bit of that chapter more than him. Same for chapter 11, though chapter 16 as well. Chapter 17 and 19 are a little bit more balanced, but even though the graph visually tells me that she has less chapters, when taking into consideration all the overlapping chapters, I said no, they have equal time on the page. So this is how I decide if my book is really balanced out, or if I have too much time with one character more than the other. And that is just more an intuitive thing, and because I don't want to have like, oh, this percentage of the book has to have the break into 2, and now is the dark night of the soul thing, and it has to be this percentage, it has to be on that. I don't want to do that. I don't want this to feel extremely predictable, because I don't like it. Also, it's not a typical story, so it's not... Here's where I'm going to go on a sort of rant, but I'm just gonna say that I have been trying to follow all these books teaching you a formula for a story, and it just doesn't work for me. And it really, maybe I am already doing it and not realizing, but the way it was narrated or told to do doesn't really work for the story that I want to tell. So as of right now, it is just an intuitive thing that I'm doing with my outline, looking at it, looking at the graph, looking at how much time am I spending with each of the characters, the 2 main characters, And yeah, so this is how I outline my thing. And you can see that I use very easy bullet points. Therefore, if I feel that I need to change something or remove something, because in the end it wasn't that necessary, I can just switch it up a little. Before making this video, I had to rearrange the bullet points in chapter 1 just a little bit, because chapter 1 had a major rewrite. And so I fixed it up a little bit before this video, but it is very easy to do. I am not focusing on my outline as if my outline was going to be published as well. I just need to have the guideline for me to know what to write next. Because like I said, most of the things are happening in my head. I see with my very crappy vision, but I see the scenes happening in my head. I know where the characters are. I know where is everything. Whether I am very good at describing what I can see, that's another debate for another video, because my descriptions are, well, you know, visually impaired worthy, but I'm improving on that too. But yeah, that's my outline. I color code, I separate the chapters for each character. Each character has to have their own chapter, but there will be points in the novel, key points in the novel, where these two characters are going to interact. And I think that's essential for a multiple POV story, to have some coherence of sorts. And that's why I would also recommend people from, you know, a more humble beginning. This is maybe your first or your second book. Try to start with 2 main characters, maximum, because multiple POV is something really hard to pull off. And if you are not a pro, if you don't have the skills and practice to develop a sensate type of story with 8 main characters, and everyone has equal time screen, you know, like equal time on the screen or on the page, I would recommend you to stick to 2. Maybe you have some minor characters that maybe have a weird, surprising, overlapping chapter point of view thing, like I had with Claudia on chapter 3. Make sure that you do that very early on, or for some kind of surprise element maybe at the end. It depends on your story. Things are so subjective, and every story is so different that I cannot really tell you if it's a good idea to make it at the end or not. It will maybe at the end of a second book, like a second book, not the first one, but if you want to have like a cliffhanger for the third and final climax of the trilogy, and on the second book someone shows up in the end, some new villain of sorts, you don't know, who knows. But anyway, that's just crazy ideas in the last minute while I'm recording this video. But I hope this was helpful in some way or another. If you have any ideas from anything that you saw on the screen, anything that you think that maybe I need to change, because hey, I am no expert. I am just another AuthorTuber contributing to this amazing project that is Project AuthorTube. I hope you liked it, and just leave me a comment down below and let me know if you want to see maybe some of character development or some, I don't know, editing method, whatever you want to see from me. If you think that you have a question about, like, oh, how you as a visually impaired, how do you do this, how do you do that, then if you have questions like that regarding my writing, let me know in the comments and I will make a video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.